Mako, direktor. Wow, makatulog na lang. Cupid Psyche, Direktor Dominic Funtanar. Come on. Tulog na, tulog na. In a far mountainous kingdom, a king had 3 daughters. While his eldest, 2 were as humanly beautiful as possible. The third and youngest, Psyche, seemed to glow with the glories of the immortals. No one could look upon her without the breath being stolen from his lips. She appeared as a goddess among women and was praised wherever she went. And so began her troubles.
Cupid! Cupid!
Sorry to keep you waiting, Mother. Pero may ulan.
Yes, your life is hectic. But you don't know what it feels like to be an Asian goddess of beauty. There are 1,000 women down there trying to get better than you.
So what? What should I do?
There's a mortal named Psyche. She must be ruined. Make her fall madly in love with the most despicable creature in the world.
Psyche did not fall in love with a horrible wretch. She did not fall in love at all. Both of her Psyche sisters, inexpressibly inferior to her, were splendidly married to kings. Psyche, the all-beautiful, sad, and solitary, only admired, never loved. It seemed that no man wanted her. By the jealousy caused by her sisters, Psyche's eye filled with tears, and she ran away from the cruel bars of her sisters to the corner where she spent her nights. It was there that Cupid found her. Sobbing uncontrollably, he had come to see this beauty for himself before he consigned her to the love of a hideous human. The god came to the room, invisible to human eyes.
Why did she weep and hide her face? Come on, girl. Show me your triumph.
As if in reply, Psyche raised her head from the cushions and stared directly into the eyes of Cupid. A sudden force slammed into his gut. Before him was the most gorgeous creature he had ever seen.
Why do they have to be so nasty? I didn't ask to be born this way. I hate you. It's all your fault.
Me? What? I only... Psyche launched her tear-covered cushion at him, and as it harmlessly passed through his immortal body, he realized that she was not speaking to him, but she was only speaking to thin air.
Most girls would ask to look like this. They are all fools. It has brought me nothing but misery.
At once, the god's mission was forgotten. His only desire became to console this tormented creature. His tears of despair only made her even more desirable. He moved to materialize, to make himself known, and then he remembered.
I am good. She's mortal. We can never be together. Mother will get mad at me for worse.
To his surprise, he felt his heart suddenly breaking. How many times had he caused this sensation in others, all at his mother's command? Yet he now felt the power of his own weapon. Such suffering as he had never done. This was his reward, his payback for so much anguish. He knew one thing: he could cause this lovely damsel no more hurt.
I will do the bidding of Lord.
Despair, the same despair that Psyche had felt, coursed through him now. He had seen the love of his life, but it had been a temptation only. She could never be his. Then a sudden thought struck him, one that he had dared not to think. And inside his mind, it formed a plan.
Could it work? I'm Sasakola. He will tell you the truth. Yes, he will tell you.
The course of the young god's flight veered toward Olympus. His cousin Apollo, the god of truth, received him there, and together they hatched a brilliant scheme, one that would allow Eros to have the desire of his affection.
Apollo, I'm worried about my daughter. I need to find her a good husband. What should I do?
Dress Psyche in deepest mourning. You must set her in the summit of Rocky Hill and left alone. And there she will meet her destined husband. He is a fearful winged serpent, stronger than the gods themselves.
Misery of all when Psyche's father brought back this lamentable news can be imagined. They dressed the maiden as though for her death and carried her to the hill, and with greater sorrowing than if it had been to her tomb.
You should have wept for me before, knowing of the beauty that has drawn upon me the jealousy of heaven. Now go, knowing that I'm glad that the end has come.
For all their weeping and gnashing of teeth, none were brave enough. When the time came to go against the will of the gods, they left her there, alone on the ledge, to await her monstrous bridegroom. Psyche sat silently upon a ledge and watched her family make its way back down the winding path. She closed her eyes, and a faraway sound reached her ears, wind growing louder and louder, until it was almost upon her. Her serpentine husband come to claim his bride.
Come.
The strange voice behind her caused no surprise, and neither did she marvel when an unseen force lifted her from the ledge, drawing her up farther than she had ever been. Caring not to look upward, she set her glassy eyes on the ground far below. Suddenly, daylight drew her attention, and ahead in their path, the clouds had parted, perched atop a spineless peak. Shining like the noonday sun was a glorious place.
This is the home of the serpent?
She finally dared to look over her shoulder. To her shock, it was no winged beast that carried her, but what seemed to be an irritated man.
I'm a snake?
Of course I'm not, you silly girl. I'm Scepter, the West Wind.
They told me a serpent was coming to take me away.
Who did? Those fools with the tambourines? They were making such a racket, I thought about blowing off the cliff.
Then who is to be my husband?
The man in the golden hall there. He just happens to be a friend of mine, and I thought about giving him a favor or two.
They were very near the golden courtyard, and the west wind swooped down, sit near Psyche, neatly upon the front step.
All ashore. Now when your husband shows up, don't rattle him to death with all those questions of yours. I don't want to make a trip back there again. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm late for a storm in Athens.
Before she could utter a response, Zephyr dissipated into nothing. A faint breeze playing across her cheek She turned to face the gigantic doors with the slightest pressure from her fingers. They pushed back, swinging fully open. Behind them stretched a long hall, hushed as a tomb. The princess began taking timid steps down its length, and an unexpected voice at her shoulder caused her to jump. Though she had knightly companionship, her days were lonely affairs. The servants were no great conversationalists, and she longed to speak to her family once again.
Spirit, can I ask you a question?
Certainly, my lady.
I know that I'm never to leave this place again, but can a message be sent to my family to let them know that I'm still alive?
I shall be done as you wish, my lady. We shall send them a vision of this place in a dream, and beckon them here. But know that they can only stay for the course of the day. Before the sun sets, they must be gone.
But, very well. Call them to me. I miss them terribly.
It may perhaps seem odd that sight so greatly miss those who have left her alone and dejected them on the ledge. But a desire for human companionship had grown up within, and seeing them once again became the object of her thought. As nightfall, the phantom voices called her to her chambers. There she was, amid in silken sheets, to await her mysterious husband. As if another spell of the house defied her will and soon overcame her, and she felt that someone or something was very near her.
Who is there?
Your husband.
A week later, her sisters arrived. They stood before the grandeur of the mystical place. Sight rushed to meet them, greeting them warmly and ushering them into her golden hall.
Dearest sister, it's so good to see you alive. Are you sure it's okay? Of course. It's where I live all this
As she led them to the table, the good-natured smiles of her sisters began to slump down into scowls of jealousy. These glories were beyond their wildest dreams, and they envied them.
Let's go and talk to you.
The visit was concluded swiftly after. Cold resolve had frozen Sight's mind. Before looking upon her husband had mattered little. Now it was everything, and would determine her future.